Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some interesting stuff in a follow-up story. Those have all been breaking news all throughout the day that we've actually had now that we might also want to go and retract from a previous video, where we're actually now seeing some more official statements in regards to the Sony Xbox Game Pass buyout drama and also these exclusive claims. And we're actually now getting official sources now chiming on in, stating that some of the comments and things that were coming out in the first place were actually not actually true at all. Now, in case you guys missed some of the story, we'll give you guys the quick heads up with it, but there was actually a really big potential blockout that was actually showcased and talked about over here, and a lot of folks were like, well, this actually might be kind of a bad situation. So I want to go and talk about this, talk about what's going on, talk about all these actual issues going on with it, because as I mentioned, some of this stuff actually kind of seems like it actually didn't turn out to be fully true based on the fact of the official sources themselves. So we're going to talk about this and talk about the vibes, and as well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the brand new Samsung links down below. Use that HOW link down below and check that out and get a free $100 sign-up bonus. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. We have the Target links down below, and also make sure you guys are subscribed and give me your thoughts and comments down below. So we actually had a chance to go and discuss this earlier on today. The big few day drama has been that PlayStation has been apparently buying out certain games and essentially enforcing them to not end up on Game Pass. Essentially, just imagine it's like a mid-tier deal where they could maybe say make $5 million on Game Pass, but Sony will be like, hey, we'll give you $2 million, make it an open release, we might do a little bit of deals or whatever with you guys, and we can go from there. And well, when it comes to that stuff, it kind of makes sense. It kind of lets the free market go and decide a little bit more, and I'm sure there's some sort of back-end deals. But I even said this on the earlier video today, that it was a bit of a weird thing. I like the idea behind it, but typically you'd probably imagine something like, say, with Steam, where it's like a front page promotion, you're at in the top sellers, best reviewed, or a big check out this game with hyperlinks or official, say, tweets, YouTube reviews, and promotions on the YouTube channel, on the Instagram, on the Twitter, and all of that. And we really didn't see, we have seen a little bit, but we haven't seen a full-on major marketing force for when it comes to PlayStation. So I did think it was a little bit skeptical. But the original story was, and this has all apparently now been not true, we're going to give you guys the official statements, but apparently the drama was people actually did go and they misspoke, and they were apparently wrong on this, is that they said that there was going to be a proper, I don't want to say buy-up, basically encouragement and financial and or promotional incentive to make sure these games, such as Cult of the Lamb, don't end up on Game Pass. And that was kind of a story from earlier on today that was floating around a lot. A lot of news articles, and my own self made a YouTube video on it. And a lot of folks actually had a chance to have they were assuming that there was a big marketing deal with Sony, considering the number of trailers that were premiering on PlayStation, or all the spotlights on the platform. And all at the same time, too, as well, a lot of folks were thinking oh my god, this will be actually huge, too, on top of this. We've seen other folks, and we've seen other things popping on off, but the one big issue, and this is why it's always so obnoxious to see, is that apparently the main major source of where this came from was from just a follower with 18 followers. Now, when it comes to news articles, and other people sometimes assume they'd actually be vetting some stuff, and that's why I'm not usually the biggest fan of people doing news, myself included. You kind of have to always retract your statements or own up to it if something is wrong with it. But we've now seen official statements such as this, where people over here are being yeah, Cult of the Lamb not being on Game Pass, super sad, from Gary, who is one of the originators of all these articles, where we also have a random guy just saying, yeah, apparently Sony paid them to not put on Game Pass, with random tongue-out emojis and laughing emojis, as you guys can see on the screen itself. And if you guys actually look through this guy's Twitter account as of right now, he literally does not tweet, does not do anything, and only as of time has 29 followers. And this is where apparently a lot of these sources are coming from, which at the end of the day is somewhat, disappointing, because we're seeing official people on podcasting and mention stuff too as well. And they even have the timestamp where they have the 32-minute mark, where they basically hey, that they're going on rants and talking about how PlayStation keeps them buying this, etc., etc. Now, this has kind of been one of those weird chain of command type things, but as this has all kind of been blowing up, we've been seeing articles discussing this, we've seen websites discussing this, we've seen Reddit posts discussing this, we even had my own self making a YouTube video on it. It's funny because at the end of this day, it does apparently seem to be false. So this actually comes off the back of Devolver Digital denying now all these claims that Sony was paid to block Cult of the Lamb from Xbox Game Pass. Now, I think maybe people are just trying their best to go and maybe possibly be on top of their stuff. Like, they're just trying to sit here and be like, well, we've seen PlayStation do this on 5 or 6 different games. I'm sure this might be a proper legitimate issue and proper legitimate thing we should be on the lookout for, which I can maybe understand on more of the speculation side too as well. But when you kind of see these kind of like somewhat bigger out there, like, you know, articles or people or podcast or industry insiders or whatever, which is why even for my own type of videos or these other different types of folks, always take things with a grain of salt. Like I usually try to show my references, you know, like I'm literally showing like on screen, you know, for me. But it's kind of embarrassing to see that someone got this information off of someone with like 20 followers. And they kind of took that as like a proper truth. So during the Kind of Funny Games daily YouTube series, Gary Whitta, who we mentioned before, claimed that Cult of the Lamb was kept off of Xbox Game Pass because Sony paid for it to stay off his service. As we mentioned, this has actually kind of been a hot topic because it has actually shown up in legitimate sources in Brazil, in other various areas, in proper legal cases. And these proper legal cases are at a lot of merit because you can't really lie in court. And if you get found out that you lie in court, well, stuff doesn't necessarily ever go there really good in your way, especially if you're arguing against a certain case. It does really diminish out your argument. And well, his statement was basically saying, somebody told me that part of the reason why Cult of the Lamb, you know, this ongoing huge indie game that everyone's been playing and I really want to play on stream, so follow up the Twitch stream up down below, is not on Game Pass, is Sony paid massive monster to not put it on Game Pass too as well. And that kind of goes in disputes with Devolver Digital, the publisher, the company behind the game, stating, however, this is absolutely untrue. Period. Like, so that's a pretty strong statement right there. What is claimed, however, untrue does feel like it could have been true, especially after Microsoft recently accused Sony of having done some of the same exact stuff before, which maybe it's just fresh on their mind to give them a little bit of a pass or something of the sort, but it is kind of crazy to go and see that we've had so much drama and so much stuff with this, especially at the end of the day where, well, it just didn't turn out to be actually probably true. So basically, there has been, though, like to go put a little bit of merit on it, there has been multiple times where Sony has now officially, on record, been caught paying developers not to put their games on Game Pass as a means of affecting the service's growth. So basically just trying their best to go and say that Game Pass shouldn't get even more and more and more games because they just don't deserve it, or we have to worry about monopoly law or all that stuff put together. And while there has been true before, and it has happened, this is like from legal documents confirming it, this definitely is not out of the question for Sony to go do it, although this time it does not seem to be true, especially when we have the source being a guy with 29 followers whose name is literally That Dude Cam. Now, I'm sure this Cam dude, he looks like a cool dude. He looks like a nice, fine, sweet fellow. I'm sure he's a cool dude. But for someone who doesn't necessarily really go and tweet too often, doesn't necessarily have too many inside industry credentials, at the end of the day, it doesn't really seem like he's someone who we should probably be trusting for all these inside huge multi-billion-dollar deals, especially when they're dropping emojis all over here too as well. So there is going to probably be a big speculation, I'd say, for future games, especially whenever Microsoft gets a future potential indie game, that people are probably going to scrutinize it and go and say, how much money do you have to pay for it? Is it even really worth it? Here's the big monopoly. And then on the reverse side, if there ever is a game that is not on first day Game Pass, we might also see a lot of folks as well be stating that, well, maybe Sony just spent all their money to make sure the game did not end up on Game Pass. And I don't want to blindly say this, but it does kind of seem like this might be turning into a future meme now with all this stuff kind of going on. But I do want to retract my own statement because we did go cover on the news because multiple different various articles have covered it as well, like multiple Twitter accounts too as well. So my apologies, but that's why I like to make a secondary video to let you guys all go and know that as of right now, those statements do appear to be false, although they do stand and hold many different times in proper legal law that it has happened before, and it could potentially still happen again in the future. So we're going to be watching to see if that does happen or not. But as of right now, Cult of the Lamb was not supposed to end up on Game Pass, at least as of yet. And also, Sony did not go and give them money, at least from all based on official sources. So one more thank you to Cameron Wick for your lovely reporting as well. Kind of somewhat sad in the kind of funny games to go and also have all this promotion on it when it was also not true. So I'll give you thoughts and comments down below. My apologies on that one. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below, Target links down below, Howl links as well for the brand new Samsung monitors down below, and the Twitter and Twitch room as well. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching.